Well, we're almost done with the G1 Climax by New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got, of course, the A block in action in day 13. I'm very excited to see how this is progressing, who, in fact, still has a chance to make it all the way to the end, who is undefeated. Also, we got New Japan Pro Strong with Ultimate Attack with 3 matches: Minoru Suzuki versus Fred Rouser, the Strong Openweight title on the line between champion Tom Lawler and challenger Ren Narita, and finally, some unresolved issues between Robbie Eagles and his former leader and one-time member of the Bullet Club, G White. So, we also got Impact Wrestling Knockouts Knockdown, which is an all-female pay-per-view, which was good and also was in dedication to the fallen Daffney. And then finally, I get to review a Joshi Promotion World Wrestling Pro Wrestling Diana with day 3 of the Today I'm a Main Character, with Nanami being the main character herself. So, let's get started with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Radier. So, let's go with New Japan Pro Wrestling, the G1 Climax on day 13 with A block action. Now, the first opening match was tag team action, which we haven't seen for quite some time. Since the start of the G1, we have the Young Lions, Koze Fujita teaming with Rohi Oiwa, taking on our very own 2 junior heavyweight competitors in Suzuki-gun, Despy, and Kanemaru. Now, you can guess right away that Despy and Kanemaru were going to win this match because that's how it happens. The Young Lions always lose their matches. Unless if there's some miracle, they win. Now, our next match, as you know, one competitor in the G1 will get 2 free points since Naito is officially out and every match has been forfeited. So, Tomohiro Ishii takes on the ticking time bomb himself, Hiromu Takahashi. And I have to say, Takahashi really put a run on his money, even if the guy is a freak of nature. Tomohiro Ishii is a powerhouse, but however, the junior heavyweight competitor was still no match for Ishii. But he put a lot of good effort. Now we get to the matches of the G1. So let's start with Kenta taking on Zack Sabre Jr. I have to say, this was one of my favorite matches. The reason I say this is because if you look at Kenta, he is a world-class athlete. He does have techniques, like he's a fantastic striker. He even has a bit of submission technique. But you look at Zack Sabre Jr., his only defensive or offense is the submission tactics. So the real question is, does he have what it takes? But I was a bit surprised that Kenta was the one who pulled it off. I mean, he put him out great. I have to say, this is the second loss that Zack Sabre Jr. had in the G1. However, he's still going strong. But we'll see what happens then. Our next match, well, this was a very crazy match, but funny. Awesome. We got Yujiro Takahashi, the Tokyo Pimp, taking on Toru Yano. Now, as you know, Yano always has some tricks up his sleeves. Even Yuji has been trying to use his tricks on him, like basically use the handcuffs, duct tape, whatever. However, when both competitors were outside the ring, they went under the ring and they were counted out, and the person who came out victorious underneath the ring was none other than Toru Yano, because somehow he was able to handcuff Yujiro and he couldn't get out until Yano actually gave him the key at the end of the match, and Yano win this match. Our next match, we have Tangaloa of the God, also member of the Bullet Club, taking on Shingo Takagi. So this was a very tough match, but however, you know how tougher Shingo has always been ever since he became not only the Neverweight champion, but also the IWGP World Heavyweight champion. And he finished him off with the Last Dragon. And finally, we got Great Khan taking on Kota Ibushi. Now, keep in mind, Kota Ibushi hasn't forgotten, the United Empire, as you know. He lost the title to Will Ospreay and all this, but I have to say it was a pretty good match between these two. There was a good moment that he sucker punched him really good and knocked him out, but however, it was the Kamigoye by Kota Ibushi that finally sealed the deal and allowing himself to win the match. Now let's take a look at the point systems we have. Kota Ibushi, he only has 5 wins and 2 losses. Shingo Takagi, he has the same. No, wait. Yeah, 4 wins and 2 losses, I think. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, 5 wins and 2 losses. That's what. Yeah, got it wrong. Sorry, my bad. Zack Sabre Jr. only 5 wins and 2 losses. Toru Yano, 4 wins and 3 losses. Tomohiro Ishii, 4 wins and 3 losses with 4 points. Well, you know what? Let's start over. Kota Ibushi has 5 wins and 2 losses with 10 points, which is still good. He is in good part. Same thing with Shingo, 5 wins and 2 losses, 10 points. Zack Sabre Jr., same thing, 10 points with 5 wins and 2 losses. Toru Yano, on the other hand, he has 4 wins and 3 losses with 8 points. Tomohiro Ishii, 4 wins and 3 losses with 8 points. Yujiro, 2 wins and 5 losses, so he could be one of the first ones to be eliminated. Tangaloa, the same thing, 2 wins and 5 losses. Kenta, same thing, 5 wins and 2 losses, 10 points. So most likely we have to pay attention with Kota Ibushi, Shingo, Zack Sabre Jr., and of course Kenta. They most likely have the 10 points. I do see Yuji could be a possibility that he could be eliminated from the tournament. The rest, we will see what happens then. So it's getting very, very exciting. We're almost at the end of the G1. But for now, let's just keep moving forward. When they return back, resume on the 13th, I think. Oh, I think the 13th. But right now, let's move on with the other New Japan show, NJPW Strong with Autumn Attack. Alright, so we are in New Japan Strong for the Autumn Attack. There'll be more events of this one because they divided and happened. This already been pre-taped at Garland, Texas. The first match, we have Mr. No Days Off taking on the King, Minoru Suzuki. Now, I don't know if I like how the story was built up, how Fred Rouser, nothing was phasing him, like he was trying to antagonize Minoru Suzuki, trying to get him riled up, but you know Minoru, he's like, nope, on my time. So that's how it works with the King. Now, he did put a good effort, but however, when it comes to Minoru Suzuki, you all know he's gonna kill you. So, I thought it was pretty great. I enjoyed the match. It was so fun. And of course, Minoru Suzuki finished him off with the sleeper, then the Gotch style pile driver, and it was over right from there. Now, this next match is for the strong openweight title between challenger Ren Narita and champion Tom Lawler. Now, I have to say this was a very impressive match because, as you know, Ren Narita, he's almost done with the excursion. He will be heading back to Japan soon. And I have to say, I think it really put how Ren Narita has learned everything. Like, they counter every move. No matter what Lawler tried to do, he tried everything. But however, he did came on top no matter what. But it was Red Narita who put a run on his money, not realizing that he was wrong. He even criticized Shibata for being a weak teacher, but I don't think so. Ren Narita has learned a lot. I remember when he was a young lion down in Japan, but I feel he has grown so much as a competitor, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do once he gets back to Japan. And the real question does remain, which faction will he join? We'll see then. Now we get to the main event, which is Robbie Eagles and Jay White. Now keep in mind, these two have no love lost with each other, because if you remember, it was Robbie Eagles that turned on Bullet Club when, of course, they try to finish off in that match in the showdown in Australia 2 years ago. Robbie Eagles couldn't go through with it. He did not like the Bullet Club's antics, how they weren't. He wanted to do things his way, but he did. And look at him now. He is now the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, while Jay White has won many championships. And however, he did finish off Robbie Eagles with the Switchblade, and that was it. But he put out a post-match promo. He's self-aware what's going on since he's not currently in Japan. Turns out that he is not liking how Evil's been introducing inside, making shots without his permission, and he's trying to remind everyone in Bullet Club that he's still in charge. Now, we don't know what's going on with Bullet Club. Is this the sign that they might kick him out? Or we may have a civil war within Bullet Club. That's yet to be seen. But right now, we'll just wait and see what's going to happen with Bullet Club. Don't know if that's going to take place. So I think that's it with the New Japan stuff. I say let's move on with Impact's Knockouts Knockdown. Well, we just saw Knockouts Knockdown. I have to say it was a pretty good event. All women involved. I think I enjoyed every match, every storyline that was built up in this. And not to mention, this was dedicated to Daffney. That was the opener with the 10 bell salute. As you know, Daffney's death really hit hard. She was mostly recognized in ECW and Impact Wrestling when it was known as TNA. It was a very difficult time with her untimely death, and they dedicated the entire event for her. Now, this entire event, the first thing they did is opened up with the first round matches for the Knockouts Knockdown tournament. Now, keep in mind, whoever wins this match will get an opportunity, the chance to face for the Knockouts Championship. It could either be Deonna Purrazzo or Mickie James after Bound for Glory. But don't get ourselves ahead of there. The first match we have is Lady Frost facing off against Rachel Ellering. I have to say, Lady Frost was really amazing. I mean, I became a fan. I love her style, how she does her thing. And of course, we cannot forget Rachel Ellering. We all know her. She's a second generation wrestler. We know her father, Paul Ellering, who was a wrestler in his own right, and of course, the manager of the Road Warriors. And I have to say, it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it, but it was Rachel Ellering that pulled off the victory and allowing herself to move on to the next round for the semifinals. Next match we have is Renee Michelle taking on, well, it's a hot mess, Chelsea Green. Now, Renee Michelle initially attacked her before the start of the bell. Basically, she would do anything to get in, to make it all the way, but however, she did not make it because, of course, Chelsea Green put the unprettier on her, and it was over from then. Next match we have is Brandon Lauren taking on Mercedes Martinez. I have to say, it was a good impression on Martinez. Now, I don't know for sure if she is fully signed with Impact, because keep in mind, she was one of the talents that were released not too long ago, but she was very impressive, putting her away. And then finally, our next match we have is Tasha Steelz taking on Jamie Senegal. This is a new way for Tasha, who is determined to prove she is meant to obtain the title. Now, keep in mind, this is one of those things that we will talk about. But it was a good match. Tasha Steelz did an amazing job without the help of Savannah Evans, but the reason she wasn't there was because she was booked for the Monster Ball match. But Tasha was able to pull it off. Now, our next match, this was part of the Pick of Your Poison match. As you know, Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo are at each other's throat. Mickie James picked Masha Slamovich. It was a good match, and don't forget, in this match, whenever Deonna's around, you got that weasel Matthew Renwald on the side. But no matter what Deonna Purrazzo tried to do, Masha tried to get out of it, but this time when she finally got her good in a good submission, she had no other choice but to say, I quit. Now we get to the semifinals of the Knockouts Knockdown tournament. Mercedes Martinez versus Rachel Ellering. I have to say this was a pretty good match because Rachel Ellering showed a lot of respect for Mercedes. Reason is, Mercedes is a veteran. She's been around the block many times over. And I think it was pretty good how she showed her a lot of respect. But however, Mercedes Martinez was the one that walked out. But she was very happy to face someone like Rachel because Rachel is a fantastic wrestler, but we know one day she will become champion. Now, our next match for the semifinals we have is Tasha Steelz taking on Chelsea Green. Many fans were were favoring Chelsea Green in this match. I mean, it would have been great. I mean, they tried to eat at each other's throats with their moves, but nothing works. But Tasha Steelz somehow was able to pull it off with the frog splash. Excuse me. And allowing herself to advance to the finals to face Mercedes Martinez. Now, we received a surprise visit. Someone who's been on WWE and also Impact. We're talking about Christy Hemme, who we haven't seen for quite some time. She's retired, living her life with her husband and 5 children. She came back because she wanted to announce the latest Hall of Fame inductee into Impact Wrestling, Awesome Kong. As you know, she recently retired at Empowered. It was a surprising announcement. And of course, Awesome Kong was there to give support to the women before her. Like, they felt like she, Gail Kim, and everybody else in the Knockouts division of their generation broke the barriers. And it's true, there have been like that. And we just are happy to see that. Now, we do see a little video package by Taylor Wilde explaining how she and the late Daffney were in fact the first two knockouts to get themselves involved in the Monsters Ball match. And it was a lot of thought. I was surprised that she wasn't there, but I guess it was hurtful for her because, you know, they made headways with this match. But I don't blame her. But we'll just see what happens. Now we get to a Monsters Ball match. We have Kimberly, Savannah Evans, Alicia, and Jordan Grace. This match was nuts. They had everything. Thumbtacks, kendo sticks, chairs, whatever. But I think the most impressive was Savannah Evans. Now, we have seen her mostly like a bodyguard or something to Tasha Steelz. I know she was involved in a tag team match, but now seeing her as a single competitor in a 4-way match, very impressive. And I think we got to pay attention to her, what she can do in the ring. Now we get to the finals match between Tasha Steelz and Mercedes. It was a classic match. I think it was pretty good. I think it was really awesome because I think it showed a lot of character, because the way I see it, Mercedes Martinez deserved it more because, you know, she's been around. She's a veteran. I have to say she never got anywhere well with WWE because they released her. The reason they released her was because of her age. she's in her mid 40s, but she seems like she's in good shape no matter what. But right now, with her winning, it's still unclear when she'll challenge for the Knockouts title. Now, our main event is for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles between The Influence, Madison Rayne, and Tennille Dashwood, along with Caleb with the K, facing off the K's members, Rosemary and Havoc, being accompanied by Crazy Steve and Black Taurus. Now, this match was pretty good, but you know for a fact when Caleb is there, he's going to interfere. But Crazy Steve and Black Taurus chased him out. I thought it was fun, but it did allow for Decay to retain the titles. But the next question is, who will be the throne? Now, well, not to jump ahead of myself on this one, because as soon as the show was over, we had a surprise announcement. Coming soon, the Inspiration. Yes, folks, the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, are coming to Impact Wrestling, and of course, they will be making their debut at Bound for Glory. Now, it would not surprise me that they will be going, that if they will challenge Decay for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. But I think I will discuss this in the podcast, and I'll explain why. But I have to say, pretty good show. Give it 2 thumbs up, and hopefully the next time we'll see more of these Knockouts Knockdown shows, which is a lot more fun and more exciting to watch. So now we're gonna end it with World Women Pro Wrestling Diana. Let's do that right now. Alrighty, so the last thing I'm going to review right now is World Woman Pro Wrestling Diana. This was part of the Golden Week Diana Presents Today I Am Main Character. This took place on the 3rd of May, day 3, and at the Diana Dojo. Today's character was none other than Nanami. First we had, what's her name? Madeline, and then later, what's her name? I don't have it here. Haruka Masaki, but this time we have Nanami. The first match is a singles match featuring Nanami taking on Miyoko Matsumoto. I have to say it was a very interesting match because it showed Nanami, she was very determined, but I think there were some botches in this match. They tried to pick it up as much as possible, but it did allow for Miyako to win the match. Pretty much that's what happened, and then of course she had to go back in the ring again, but this time she teamed up with veteran Jaguar Yokota, taking on Momoka Hanazomo, and of course the founder, and of course her trainer, Kyoko Inoue. Now this was also a very interesting tag team match. I think I got lost in the shuffle with the whole match, but it did showed how they were trying to keep Kyoko away for Hazamoto, who was trapped, and of course it did allow for for Jaguar to pick up the victory. Then our main event, we have of course Crisis, consistent of Madeline and Ayako Sato taking on Naname and Haruka Mitsuki. It was a very good match. I think I enjoyed this one more, but however, it was Madeline who picked up the victory when she pinned Haruka Musaki in this one. Now, I did hear some reviews that there was a lot of botches and a lot of missteps on this one. I have seen some parts. Don't know what really was the cause. I have to say maybe because they used the same person multiple times. Nanami being used in all 3 matches. I mean, it's kind of tiring, to be honest with you. I don't know how it was with, of course, Umasaki and Madeline, but hopefully I can find some info on that. And I think we're going to end this episode with some news updates that all of you may want to hear about. Okay, this news came around on September 29th, not too long ago. It was announced Consejo Mundial Lucha Libre, or CMLL, has now officially started an alliance with Joshi Promotion Ice Ribbon. Some of you are saying, what? Yes, it was announced. The reason this happened is because many of the directors of Ice Ribbon were impressed with Consejo Mundial's Amazonian wrestlers. That's what they're calling them in their promotion, the Amazons, which is a name that was brought upon by Sofia Alonso. Like prior, before she was ever kicked out as the director of the promotion, she still works for them, but there's rumors that she may be out. But that's another conversation for another time. But they did brought in Salvador Luthroth, one of the director and founder, and his family's company, along with Konosuke Ayuzu from Lady Ring, and of course, owner of Ice Ribbon, Hajime Sato, who made the agreement to have a partnership with that, an alliance with between them, exchanging wrestlers that would come from Japan to go to Mexico, or the Amazonians go from Mexico to Japan. So, but however, they did feature for one of the upcoming events that happened between that day all the way to now. From Ice Ribbon, we have Tsukasa Fujimoto, who is the Maximum Ice Ribbon Monarch. We have, and of course, Aruka Tsukushi, who is the IW19 champion, and of course, the youngest member of the roster, Momo Kogo. Now, these two of the first two actually, Sakusa and Sukushi, they already visited Mexico. So these three were part of the entire event, and I've been following them on their journey during Mexico. I did not realize that there was an alliance between them, and this was a long time coming from both companies. To start a partnership and all this and that. But there have been wrestlers from Consejo Mundial, female wrestlers from that went. We had Maricela, Jarochita, Dallas, Mystique, and many others who went down to Japan to present their talent down there to Ice Ribbon. And also, it's been foretold that Negro Casas has went to their dojo in Saitama to teach some classes. So I'm looking forward what other things these guys are going to do in with their alliance, and I can't wait what else is going to happen. Now, speaking of Mexican wrestlers, we have former two-time UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez. It's now been announced he is returning to AAA, and this is going to take place on December 5th. Now, it's still unclear about his opponent. We do know he was released last year by WWE due to the pandemic. I have to say, not to diss him, I feel that WWE wasted his time being there. They did not give him a good push like they hoped for, but Cain Velasquez is a big deal from everybody. Now, speaking of AAA, it's been foretold now the Hermanos Lee, the Lee brothers, Dragon Lee, and of course the original Dragon Lee and second Mystico, Dralistico, are challenging the Lucha Brothers for the AAA World Tag Team titles. Now, this was a coming surprise. I did not expect it, but we're going to have another set of brother rivalries. As you know, we've seen that already with Penta and Phoenix with the Bucks, and now these guys. I'm kind of excited and curious to see how this one progresses. Now, before I go, let's end it with the following announcement. It's now been told GCW next year they want to have a show at the infamous Hammerstein Ballroom, the same venue where ECW did their shows. I'm like blown away from that. As you know, people can say GCW are almost similar to ECW. Now, I will do a video or a podcast about them, but right now. I just want to sink in with this whole thing, with these news, with Ice Ribbon align themselves with Consejo Mundial, and of course GCW and this and that. Well, it's a great day to be a wrestling fan. So, what can I say? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Reviewing all of these. Coming up, I may have will review the latest GCW event, Fight Club. I was unable to see it, but I will do the best I can to show it to all of you. We do have another event that came out the day before. It's called the IWTV Untitled. Uh, don't know much about it, and possibly we'll throw in two Joshi promotions involved. I was thinking about Stardom and Tokyo Yoshi Pro, but that is still yet to be determined. If that's the case, if I have time, it all depends on how my day turns out for everyone. So don't forget, I will be doing a podcast real soon on this one, and they'll be had some interesting topics. One of them is about the Mayu Iwatani and Tam Nakano match they had on the in Osaka, which I'm kind of exciting to talk about, and there'll be other things as well. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.